Hi, this is Gavin from Bush. We're going to be in the hang. Come check us out.
This one goes out to the one I
love. It's to do with the millennium coming forward. It's future thinking. I mean, it's outside of love and instinct. Most things are explainable. Logic can be applied to many things. And I liked it. I like that sort of breakdown of it, like the specific science and then the general things. And it's just about how things work, or sometimes don't work. You know, I'd much rather have someone really hate me than really think that I was, well, all right, you know, it wouldn't have any effect. And I think we've a lot of people really like us, and there's probably a lot of people that don't like us, but I wouldn't want to occupy that middle ground. I think that's a really dilute place to be. So we just continued on doing what we're doing and try to change within our own potential. I think we're getting there, you know, and this record is probably just further along the road for us. You know, music is just still crazy to me. It drives me crazy. You know, I don't know enough of it, and I don't know enough things, and writing songs is just a way for me to. I never had guitar lessons or anything, and so it's like a voyage, and it just frustrates me. I mean, I want to do more than 12 songs every year and a half. It just pisses me off. I want to, you know, I love so many different styles of music. From, you know, reggae through to hardcore, you know, through every skin color, skin tone. I like the idea of music being separate from color and from background, and should be future thinking. And the only thing that pisses me off is that you know, just the nature of it, that you can't bring out more records, you know. 2 records a year would suit me fine. For me personally, a couple of videos were a little overblown, and I didn't think they were the smartest things to do, to go and but then you meet people and they say, oh wow, we saw this video, that video, is really cool. And I'm thinking, wow, all so bloated, you know. So some of the not so smart moves have just been making some maybe slightly over expensive videos, but we haven't really done many of those. I think we're a powerful band. You know, you can be powerful in any number of ways. You know, from intimate can be really powerful to louder guitars. I don't see us in the new heavy metal kind of wave of things going on. I think they're still song-oriented, but I like that power, whether it's quiet power or loud power, as long as it has emotional resonance. There's nothing worse than if it just kind of goes by and everyone's like, well, yeah. The smartest move we ever did was just to be really confrontational in our approach to everything and our work ethic, and just tour and play where we weren't liked, play where we were liked, you know, and just go through it. And I think we have I'm yet to find out, of course, but I think we have a really good, loyal fan base. Well, I just like it when I see "Vote Bush" everywhere. That I can live with. It'd be way preferable to come out with everybody knowing it, and especially to be playing Woodstock, for instance, doing these big shows. Most bands in this day and age don't even get a shot, and when they do get a shot, you have the material, you know, so it's kind of weird. We're a bit of a throwback to maybe this sort of the musical spirit of the 60s festival, because everyone was discovering those bands as much as being aware of those bands at the time. So I like the anti-sell of it. I like the fact that we're not out there, you know, on a chat show with a book. We are just going there because we have a reputation for putting on a good show, and people know enough songs to sustain, you know, playing for an hour and a half. When we recorded this one, we wanted to just incorporate
something of what was going on, you know, i.e. the sort of electronica and the more modern things that were happening at the moment that were less rock. But and then consequently the trouble with that is just trying to know how you link the two without sounding like some dilettantes who are just trying to cop the latest fashion to do. So that was sort of the challenge, was trying to marry the two together without sounding stupid. I remember years ago my sister shared a house with a famous critic called Nick Kent, who used to write for the NME. And when he left, his floor was 2 inches thick in unopened records, and some like really good records. 2 inches of records covered this whole room in his apartment. And it was great because I got given all these records. I was at 13. It was like, wow. So that sort of told me something about that world somehow. So I don't, you know, obviously you care when people write things about you that are negative or good, but really, it would be terrible if you based your career on what people said about you. I did a solo album. I started doing like an EP, and then it became an album, then which is just coming out in a couple of weeks on the internet only. It's like an internet only album on collectingdust.com. And so I did that basically for about 3 months, 4 months. Just sort of got a lot of stuff out of my system. Tried to sing various things, which is cool. I did a few other things. I played with John Cale at Carnegie Hall, and did some stuff for a Mingus tribute album that never happened, and so I had a lot of fun. We've done a lot of dumb things. I think we just shut our mouths off a bit in the press. Maybe it's just, you know, it's like I'm just saying silly things about people. We were just, ultimately, you know, like just silly, drunken, sort of childish things that you say, and sort of getting a bit overexcited, showing off, you know, things like the kids do. I think we're all fairly similar to the way we used to be. We've got a bit more money though, and everyone has a little tendency to be a little bit flash occasionally, like, you know, the nice bottle of wine occasionally, or you know, or more than occasionally. But hasn't I don't think I think we're, you know, with each other all the same. We treat each other exactly the same way we did before. We've done a lot of dumb things. I think we just shut our mouths off a bit in the press. Maybe it's just, you know, it's like I'm just saying silly things about people. We were just, ultimately, you know, like just silly, drunken, sort of childish things that you say, and sort of getting a bit overexcited, showing off, you know, things like the kids do. All that sort of side of it. I think we've been sort of fairly level-headed throughout. A little tediously so, probably at times. We could have called ourselves Dukakis. The new stuff's gone down really well, but obviously when you play, you don't just like sort of suddenly throw 7 new songs in a row. Because I've seen bands who've done that, and it's just like I wish they hadn't. Because you can take a couple of new songs and you want to hear something familiar to just to warm your heart.
Well, it was delayed for a number of reasons. It was delayed because we wanted to spend time and get it right. It was also delayed because we had issues with our record label, so we decided to make that. We didn't have enough time before Razorblade Suitcase was released to address this particular issue, which is essentially when you first sign a record deal, it's pretty much stacked in a record company's favour. That's just the way it is, unless you're in a bidding war and there's 15 major record labels, and then they'll give. But when you're in a situation like we were, where we just signed to an independent label in America, we got pretty stitched, you know, as everybody does. And then when you sell a few records and the record label makes some money, you then go in and say, look, we know we got stitched, but we don't want to get stitched anymore. And most record labels turn around and go, yeah, okay, you know, let's make it fair. And our record label went, well, that's it, that's what you get. And we said, okay, we'll go and make a record then, and we'll pay for it ourselves. And, you know, we won't pick up our option, and you can sit there and sweat, and you can carry on, and that's what happened. And then when we made a really good record, because we didn't know we were going to make a good record, we then went back and said, you can hear this, but you don't own it yet, do you? You know? And they said, yeah, okay. And then they heard it, and then they said, what do you want? And we said, well, here it is, it's written down. You know, we could have done this a year ago if you'd have decided to do it, but you decided to sit around thinking you could sign loads of new bands and have loads of success, and nothing's happened since we were away, has it? all we ever did was get ish from everybody, and everyone was just going, yeah, they're a one-album band. And then I was like, yeah, they're a two-album band, you know, it'd be the third one there. And it's like, well, guess what, we're back again, and and so what are you going to say? So, oh, yeah, but on the fourth record, they were really going to have problems. It's like, you know, get over it. You know, all the bands that they were putting us up against and saying, you know, have all gone, or 90% of them have gone, you know, and we're still here. And if we sell a few million records, then people have pretty much got to accept that we're here. Yeah, I was doing some remixing, and you know, I made some music, some dance music of my own, which I still can't bring myself to listen to. Yeah. Smartest move we've made, just touring, definitely. It seems to be, you know, I mean, it's such an old cliche, but it's so true. It's like it is the sort of, it's the flesh on the bones of a career. If you don't do, or in fact, it's the bones of a career. There's a lot of people go out there with a whole load of flesh and no bones and end up sort of turning into a jellyfish halfway around, and their careers are all over the place. Change. I don't think any of us have changed particularly. I mean, Gav's lifestyle's changed the most because he happens to be dating and lead singer of another band. So I mean, he has the total rock star life, you know, jet setting from London to LA. You know, like, you know, it's like air milesville. He could probably fly around the world about 15 times with his air miles. So from that point perspective, he's probably had the most sort of alterations. You know, the rest of us are just living in London or wherever, and pretty much when we're at home, you know. And personalities-wise, I suppose we've just got cockier, really. You know, sold more records, you get more and more confident, don't you? You know, you don't worry about what other people say quite as much. I mean, it hurts, but you don't. You just look at a journalist and think, well, you're on 30 grand a year, and you know, I'm on 30 grand a show, so who wins? I don't, you know, if money's your thing, you know, whatever. In the industry, you know, musicians respect musicians. You know, not everyone respects people who write songs and sell records and go on tour and don't bitch about it, you know. And we've never done that, bitch about it. We've done everything else, but we haven't bitched about it. Yeah, I'm really hope he becomes president. I mean, we might sell loads of records then, won't we? That'd be great. We did 3 shows around the Amsterdam area, which is about 2 hours from Amsterdam. So we had a little core of about 30 kids who bought tickets for all 3 shows, the real, like, hardcore. Because they were like, we played to like 800 people to 1,000 people in these little clubs, just for fun, you know. We normally do arenas, but we were just doing these little clubs just to warm up and get sweaty and enjoy it. And it was funny watching the first night, you know, the new material, trying to mouth the words, and the second night they'd actually been worth thinking about it, and obviously gone home on the train and were like, what do you think it is? Right, second night they were getting it better. Yeah, they were actually singing along the choruses of new songs and stuff, and like the third night they were really confident, and like they're always like, you know, shouting out and actually shouting out the titles as well, you know, trying to be sort of super cool, saying, hey, we know the new stuff.
I think after making the second album, and we made it really quickly, you know, sort of right after to whiz in the studio, made it really quickly, sort of finished it and worked with Steve Albini, and the nature of working with Steve Albini is you do a record quickly. I think this time we thought we'd try this a bit different, try maybe spend a little longer doing it, and, you know, take our time a little bit, and make it maybe a bit more textured, a bit lusher in some places. I think you can't listen to critics too much. I think you know, it just mess you up completely if you thought you had to. Oh no, we can't write a song like that because the critics are going to say, you know, you can't let that affect you. I think the main thing to do is, I think that the people that buy records are the biggest critics and the best critics. So, you know, we rely on them, I think. I moved to Paris a few months actually, and I got myself some sort of studio equipment. I worked with my brother mates sort of TV commercials and short films and stuff. I did some music and stuff with him, so that was nice. It was kind of quite refreshing. I think the touring part is important. I think especially in America, I think that really helps. It helps anyone's career. I think if someone can go and see you play live and you play well and you do a good show for them, then they're probably going to come back and they're probably going to go buy your records more so than just seeing your video on MTV or hearing you on a radio. You can't do the same thing every single time, otherwise your sound will become, you know, sort of not become stale. But you want to keep things fresh and new and different approaches. And you know, I guess our next album maybe we'll do something, you know, different again. And it's great to come back, just to see those kids there. They're really excited to see you back. We're really excited to be playing there. I don't know, politics and music don't really mix. I don't think I should probably really go there. I think, you know, he probably thinks pretty much the same of us as we think of him. Actually, I would imagine. You know, we've just done Glastonbury, we've done sort of gigs in Europe and stuff, and we played the new songs and got done really well. And it's you know, it's like just itching because you just want to have soon to be able to start the song, play that first chord, and go away because they've heard it before. Whereas really in the moment they hear that first chord, then you have to teach them the song. So it'd be better when they can learn it from the record first.